Hey guys, welcome to After Hours with me, Jimmy Thistle. A bit of coffee or something on my nose there. Yeah, back out in the car again to do the intro and the outro this week. It's just tough at the moment trying to find free time to do it, so apologise if the sound is a little bit rough. Today we've got Alex Leigh. Alex Leigh is she's just an amazing person, and she was one of the supermodels of the 90s era when there was the whole kind of waif, heroin chic kind of supermodel era culture going on. So Alex, you know, she was in the top 100 FHM girls in the 90s. Did so many different kind of publicity shots, things like that, just traveling all over the world, doing amazing things, but caught up in that whole world. Alex had, you know, quite an idyllic, perfect picture postcard childhood, until unfortunately her father passed away when she was 7. He was 43. You know, absolutely devastating. What a young age. And as I said in the episode, he was just getting started out. You know, she had an older brother and sister, but she was 7, and her mum relocated them to Mallorca, so she had to learn 3 different languages: Spanish, Catalan, and Mallorcan. And her schooling was in that. She was getting bullied. She was, you know, already quite a tall girl and got to 6'3" at 14. So she was, you know, she stood out. She was having a tough time. Came back to the UK, and so she was really good at her schooling, because she'd have to translate some subjects from the 3 different languages into English, do the answers, and then translate them back for school. So she was up till like 1, 2 in the morning. So she learned to be quite geeky and really kind of studious in that respect. But when she moved back to the UK, she basically found fags, booze and boys, and enjoyed that, and things started going, I wouldn't say downhill at that point. I would say she just started kind of going off the rails a wee bit, maybe enjoying herself, partying. Started going to the Hacienda at 14, which, you know, Christ, I mean, I was from the 90s and the Hacienda was just a dream. She's getting in there at 14, not obviously having to show ID. She's a 6-foot blonde, you know. I think she took her first ecstasy at 16, and kind of, yeah. The thing is, though, from the story, it's so kind of like lavish and, you know, up in the outer stellars of kind of our imagination. It was what we only kind of read about in the 90s and things like that, of these kind of, you know, famous models and pop stars and all that, living that high life. But, you know, to hear Alex's story, it started off so similar from everyone else's, you know, and I think the thing is, the pain is the same. It doesn't matter whether you're doing it in a, you know, drinking on a park bench with a bottle in a brown paper bag, or if you're living the high life in a penthouse in Kensington. It's the story is the same, you know, the pain is the same. And for Alex, when she was, so this would have been like 93, 94, I think, when she was about 16, she was then she got into modelling, and she was put into a rented flat with the like modelling agency, and the person she was sharing with in that flat, so she's a 16-year-old girl, beautiful, blonde, you know, tall, but 16, and she's having to share with a 40 plus something photographer, male, I might add. Also much so that, you know, when drugs and alcohol were involved, that one night I think she was fast asleep in her bed, and he climbed into bed with her. Now, like, warning signs, alarm bells, and why was that even going on back in that day? Like, obviously that would never happen now. You know, I'm not talking about some little seedy modelling agencies, but I'm sure they all have to go through all sorts of safeguarding and all of this stuff now. But like back then, it was just, you know, anything goes. And so Alex, unfortunately, was kind of caught up in that, and you were kind of looked down upon if you weren't doing, you know, cocaine. So yeah, I'll let you listen to the story now. But again, please listen for the similarities. Like, this is just a glamorous lifestyle, but it's not. You know, it's a warning. It's a warning story. It's a warning tale from Alex. So yeah, as I say, listen for the similarities and not the differences. Thanks, guys. See you at the end. Hey Alex, welcome to After Hours. How are you today?
I am great, Jimmy. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, I've been excited about this. It's you know, it's so good to have you on. I'm glad we kind of solved a little technical problem at the beginning there, but it's been just lovely to chat to you and get to know you. So yeah, it's
You
and
too.
you're
We were chatting off air then. I could have spoken to you all bloody night.
well. This is it. I was like, this should all be.
We
We should
will
all
do
get
just
this.
on camera now.
We should do this on camera because we've got a little connection. You're in Greece, aren't you, Alex?
I am.
And as I've told a few of my guests and people on listening to the pod, I lived in Greece for a couple of years when I was like 12 to about 14, and I lived in a place called Glyfada, and I went to the same school as your daughter went to, which is mad.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. I am still so flabbergasted. We've got so much in common. Like, also, so you lived exactly where I lived. I've literally just moved about just before Christmas. But I lived in Glyfada for almost 6 years.
Yeah.
My kids go to the same school that you went to. I moved abroad when I was 10 till I was 12 for 2 years. So I know, you know, how difficult it is to be taken away from all your mates when you're just getting to that.
Getting started and all that. And my mum was like, you can write them letters. Now, I used to write them letters, but I think I've got a few letters back from them. Now, tell me something interesting. Do you have a little like charcoal burnt cross above your door? On the threshold? You don't.
I've got lots of religious images in here that I need to take down at some point because I'm not. Yeah. It's a bit creepy, to be honest. But do you know what? They're still very, very religious here. The older generation, the younger generation, not so much. But when I first moved here, I don't know whether you noticed it. I saw so many apartment buildings that have a little church in the apartment building. Yeah. Did you notice
like a little shrine or whatever? Yeah.
And I used to think, oh my God, that's so cute because they're so religious. No, it's not. It's a tax fiddle. If the place is a place of worship, then they pay less tax. So that's why they do it.
Oh, they're crafty. The Greeks, they're crafty. No, the little burnt cross above the door. I remember we went down into the main church in Glyfada, and there's the bit. It's obviously Easter time, I think, and we were spit roasting a goat at home during the day. We went down for this kind of celebration, and I believe they bring like a flame from Jerusalem, and it's the same flame, and then they bring it out of the church at the end of the service, and everybody lights their candles from this same flame, and we got one, and then you take it home with you, and you burn this little cross at the top of every threshold.
Because I didn't even know that, but I just know that church in Glyfada, the one that you're talking about, my daughter still has nightmares about that because she got christened, and then she had to do her first Greek Orthodox service there, and she's never forgiven me. Yeah,
it's very old school, very medieval. But my mum, when we first moved into the apartment, she was obviously cleaning it up and getting all this, and she cleaned these little black. She was, what is this dirty mark at the top of the door? And then our neighbour told us what it was, so we had to wait till Easter to get it put back on. But I mean, we're not religious, but it was part and parcel of the whole culture. And
to Greeks, Easter is like massive. It's like way
so massive.
Christmas.
Yeah. Well, as I say, we had this huge apartment. Well, it was like maybe 4 stories, so like 8 apartments or whatever. And in fact, our landlady who lived on the whole of the top floor, she was like, I don't know, like some kind of Zsa Zsa Gabor, Nana Mouskouri. She was like an old actress and all this. But we had this huge big like party barbecue where we were spit roasting this goat, and everyone had to take a turn of turning the goat. And honestly, some of the best meat I'd ever had,
Oh my God, those spit roasts are something else. They really are.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Small world.
So Alex, tell us a little bit about your childhood and, and when you had your first drink, and we'll take it from there.
So, obviously, we've just spoken about I moved to Mallorca when I was 10. So the reason why is because, so I had a perfect childhood, amazing, up until I was 7.
Right.
And my father sadly died of cancer of the pancreas. He was 43, so 4 years younger than I am now.
Yeah.
Which, like, when I got to 43, I was like, wow. Because I've always grown up without him. And it's always just been, like, but it never really dawned on me, like, how tragic that was. He was so young.
So young.
And I was so young.
Yeah.
And
well, he's almost just starting out in life, because he's got 7-year-old, lovely wife, and I mean, I'm 46 in about 3 weeks' time, so it's like, 43 is nothing. It's you're just getting started. Yeah.
Imagine your life being taken away from you. And there was 3 of us. I have got 2 older brothers, and then so my grandparents were actually very ahead of their time. My dog is eating a cloth next to me. Molly, take over. My grandparents were very ahead of their time, and they retired to Mallorca in the 70s. I mean, nobody was doing it then. No. So it was quite something. And so when he was ill, so he was ill for a long time before he died. I mean, my earliest memories, my bedroom was next to the bathroom, and my earliest memories was of him just being sick, and he was ill for a long, long time. But the only time that he felt well was in the sun in Mallorca.
Right.
So we always said to my mom, we've got to move out here. We've got to move out here. And so we moved out there, obviously, sadly, too late for him. But my mom still wanted to do it to honor him.
Yeah, of course.
But sadly, it was really hard for my mom because, I mean, obviously, she was mourning the loss of her husband, and then it was before Spain was in the EU, so she couldn't really get a job anywhere. She didn't speak Spanish, so she ended up having to clean toilets and work in bars and, just do anything to make ends meet. And then we did have a nice big villa there. The idea was to do bed and breakfast and make money that way. But my mom is like me, like we're both terrible business women, and she didn't want to ask money from anyone, and she hated asking the money. And so if she did get paid, then she would, give them so much breakfast, so much lunch, so much she ended up spending everything that they gave to her.
Yeah, right. So rather than buying the cheapest food and like buying all the basics, but making it just going and spending all the best food and whatever for the guests. Yeah.
And so in the end, we just couldn't make it work. We had to move back. And while I was in Spain, in Mallorca, I tried to pretend to my mom that I loved it because.
Yeah. So you were what? How old were you when you moved there? 7, 8? Oh, 10. 10. Right. Okay, yeah.
But actually, I hated every second of it. I was really badly bullied, really badly. And, the boys used to pin me up against the wall and pull my knickers down.
Oh, Jesus.
It was relentless bullying. And, but I felt as though I couldn't tell my mum because of what she was going through. I mean, in hindsight, like, obviously it's the worst thing I could have done. I kept it all bottled up to myself. Yeah.
But you didn't want to shatter her dream, and she thought you were having a great time. And, like, you're probably coming home every day and, how was school? Yeah, it's great. Yeah, but, like, just to protect her almost.
I mean, but aside from that, it was so difficult for me as well because I went to a Spanish school. There was no English teachers.
So not like St. Lawrence College at all.
Not like St. Lawrence. You got it easy, Jimmy.
I got it so easy. International. Everybody spoke English. I had to learn a bit of Greek, but all my lessons were done in English. So, and most of the teachers were English expats.
So not only did I have to learn Spanish, I had to learn Spanish. I had to learn, which is Castilian. Then I
Yeah.
had to learn Catalan, which is a dialect of Spanish. And then I had to learn Mallorquin, which is a completely, so Mallorquin and Catalan are similar, but they're like as Welsh as to English, completely
Really?
different languages. Yeah. And so it was so random as well. So they'd have like maths in Mallorquin, and then they'd have science in Catalan, and then like it was just so confusing. And so what I had to do was I had to come home from school. I had to translate all the questions into English, answer them, and then translate them all back into either Spanish, Catalan, or Mallorquin, whichever one it was. And so I was up till like 1 a.m. every night doing my homework.
That sounds
And
like
so it was
hell.
just horrendous, all of it. I mean, there
Like,
was
sorry to butt in, Alex, but school is bad enough as it is. Do you know what I mean? To like learn what they're teaching you, whether it be maths, English, history, geography, whatever sciences. But you're actually having to do this translation. You should be getting paid for doing translation for your own homework. Like, that's
way
mental.
before ChatGPT, way
Oh,
before Google, even
can you
way
imagine
before
now?
any of that.
You just
So
put all
yeah,
your homework into
all
Chat
hands
GPT.
done.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and so I was very relieved when we came back, and then I took where I live, where I'm from in Manchester. They still have the 11 plus. Sorry, hang on 2 seconds. He's
No,
destroying
cool.
this. Wait.
Yeah.
Molly, stop it. No. I've got to find something for him to keep him occupied. I should have found him one of those toys to chew on for ages. Anyway, it's a puppy. He's a naughty puppy.
He's showing off. Do you know what?
He's showing off.
One of my
Anyway,
cats will probably come in at some point. So
basically, they still have the 11 plus Cheshire, where I'm from. So they still have grammar schools.
Yeah.
And so when I came back, I had to do my 12 plus, and then I got into an all girls school. And so when I first came back, after doing all that hard bloody work, with the 3 languages, translating everything, I was a geek. I was a bit of a swot. Like, I was like on it with the work. But then I discovered boys and partying.
Yeah.
And it all went downhill from there. Because basically, it was like a real typical girls' school. It was very bitchy, very, very bitchy. And then because I was a geek, I was like, asking for trouble.
Yeah.
So then I became one of the rebels to fit in more. And, I used to bunk off school, and I used to be smoking behind the church next to the school. And then my older sister, she was like 4 years older than me. And so I'm 6'2", and I've been this height since I was 12. So one of the advantages of that is that I was clubbing at the Hacienda at like 14 years old, because in those days there was no like scanning your ID and stuff. There was like,
and if you're 6'2", you're gonna be like, they're gonna be like, on you go, in you go. Yeah, we want you in there. Yeah, 6'2" blonde female. Of course, they're gonna let you in the Hacienda. Come on. I mean, 6'2", me at 14, they'd probably be like, "You've got a bit of stubble, but we might want to see ID, but you're fine. You're going in." Yeah. But living the dream, like Hacienda at 14?
Yeah. And so I started the drinking the usual way that's like a rite of passage for all teens. We all start drinking 2020 on the park, or special brew. Like, I used to drink special brew when I was a teen.
It's foul stuff. I mean, I had it.
God.
I lived in London for a bit, and my friend came round, and he met me. Well, he was at my apartment before, and I'd given him the code to get into like our little kind of courtyard bit, and I found him in there, and we've got these amazing next door neighbors, and he sat outside my apartment drinking a can of special brew, and I was like, "What are you doing, man? Like, we've got like, we can drink nice stuff now. We're in our 30s. And he goes, what's the point in having a Scottish mate if you can't drink Tennant Special Brew? And I was like, fair enough,
Well,
man. I think he'd
yeah,
brought
he had a point, I guess.
a bottle of Buckfast as well. So it was like, right, we're just going for it tonight, aren't we? We're slumming it. So yeah. But yeah, Special Brew, foul stuff. But it's potent. You know, it's like 8-9% beer. Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, you just wanted to get smashed, didn't you? Yeah. I mean, that was the whole point. It was not to taste anything. It was just to get slaughtered, like
as quick as possible. Yeah.
And so I did all of that. And then, of course, the Hacienda. Then there was drugs that crept in, and you know, I took my first ecstasy at, I don't think my sister let me at 14. I think she probably let me at 16. Yeah. And
I thought they gave them out free as you went into the Hacienda. Like, open your mouth.
Oh, no, they didn't. They were 20 quid each.
I know, I remember. And they were good, though. They were good in those days. I'm not saying condoning it, but at least you knew kind of what you were getting with 20 quid on a pill. But yeah, it's scary now.
Yeah. I mean, you were literally paying Russian roulette. Roulette. Because, I mean, you just... But...
We didn't care.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing. And when you're young, you never think anything's going to happen to you. You think you're invincible. Yeah. And then I moved to London when I was 16. Because, like I say, I was this tall. A model agency asked me to go and try out in London for like 2 months.
So were you just kind of spotted at, I don't know, school or a club or whatever, or were you just kind of headhunted?
That's normally the story, isn't it? But mine's less cool than that. I wasn't spotted. No, my brother's friend was like, "You should be a model," and I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I was really like nothing to look at. I had train tracks, I had acne, I was dead skinny. But I mean, that was when the heroin chic was in, and like I was really, really skinny, really tall. And he took me to an agency in Manchester, so it's all thanks to him, actually.
Okay.
And then
Sorry, Alex, did you? Sorry to butt in, but did you? Obviously, he said, "Oh, you should be a model," and you were thinking, "Oh, don't be daft," blah blah blah. But what did you have any other aspirations at that age, or was it just kind of partying and going out with your friends, or did you want to do anything other than before the modeling came along, like as in a career? Was there any thoughts of?
Literally, I was really, really geeky and really swatty, and then as soon as I hit teenage years, I just wanted to make money to like go out and get wasted. Yeah. And so I had loads of jobs. Like I worked in a chemist for a while, and then I worked as a waitress in the Holiday Inn. Like I used to work at the Midland Hotel in Manchester all weekend. I used to go in on a Saturday, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, to make my money to go to the Hacienda on the Saturday night, be out all night, go straight to work at the Midland Hotel on the Sunday again. This time, a little less enthusiastic.
Of course.
But I just wanted to make money because, and of course, my mum was a widow. She couldn't pay for anything for me. So at one point, I was making, when I was living in Spain, actually, in the summer holidays in Spain, you have 3 months off.
Oh, yeah.
And I was only 11. But because I was so tall and I looked so old, I was nannying 3 kids. 3 kids at 11 years old. The youngest one was like a 6-month-old baby. And I got paid an absolute fortune, and I was buying my mum's shoes and coats. And I had more money then than I do now. It was like, I was a right little entrepreneur.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And, so as soon as there was like talk about money and, you know, London, I was like, get me there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I never really thought that anything would come of it because I had no confidence in myself at that point. I was really, really shy, believe it or not. Nobody can believe it now, but my first ever casting in London, I was too shy to even ring on the doorbell. I had wait for somebody to come out. I was painfully shy.
but you're
then
what, 14 at this point? Or
I was 16 when I moved to
16?
London.
Still, it's such a young age to be like heading down to London, to be in this adult world of modeling. And
Oh my
it's,
God. I
yeah,
went
like,
from being a schoolgirl to like celebrity parties, champagne, cocaine. I was far too young, far too young. But bless my mom, she agreed to it because she was given the opportunity to, she was asked to be a model when she was that age. And my grandparents wouldn't let her.
mm-hmm.
So she kind of has always thought, what if, what if? And so she didn't want to deny me that chance. And then she just remembers the swotty, geeky Alex. She thought I was really sensible. I managed to convince her to believe that I was sensible.
Yeah.
And then when I first moved, I came home every weekend. You know,
Yeah,
I was, it took
so
about,
you left school, and then this was kind of once it started taking off. Now,
yeah.
was there any, and this is the thing, because even the early 90s, I suppose, when that was, it was like, we hadn't got into the whole full supermodel kind of era. I guess there was models obviously in the 80s that were taking coke and that, but it wasn't splashed all over the news and the TV and the lads mags and all of that of, you know, drinking coke and all that. So I suppose your mum she wasn't really aware of that underground kind of scene yet. And I
I mean,
guess,
it was a whole different time, Jimmy. Like, it's so
yeah,
difficult for us to think back now because we're so overloaded with information from all angles
yeah,
now. Like,
yeah,
it's impossible to think of a time when you were like literally shielded from everything that was going on if you weren't there. Like,
yeah.
she wasn't there, so she didn't know.
She
I mean,
didn't
she
know.
got a phone call from me from a payphone
Yeah,
every now and then saying, "Oh, can you send me a tenner?"
yeah.
Um,
No
and
mobile trackers or anything like that. And like, I'm
nothing.
guessing there was no chaperone. Like, they must have chaperones now for 16-year-olds that are models. There must
So
be some kind of thing in
now
place.
it's illegal unless you've got a chaperone at that
Yeah,
young.
yeah,
I mean, listen to what they did to me, Jimmy.
yeah,
I was 16 years old,
yeah.
and the model agency put me to live. So you used to like there was either model apartments, or if they didn't have any space in the model apartments, they used to get people from the industry. They used to rent rooms from them.
Mm-hmm.
They put me in an apartment with a photographer who was like in his late 40s.
I'm guessing a male photographer in
Male
his late
photographer.
40s.
And I mean, imagine them doing that now. It's just, when you think about it, it's just outrageous.
It's absolutely outrageous because,
And the
yeah.
thing was,
Oh.
so when I first moved in with him, he was a bit odd. He was very, very talented photographer, but he was like one of those tortured soul artists. Like, nobody could see his art, and he would never get any work because he would want it his way or no way. And so he would do like a 16-page editorial. And so a magazine would want it, and they'd say, we want it, but we can only give you 8 pages. And he'd be like, no, there's 16 pages or nothing. Like, wasn't malleable. So he never worked. So he was really angry and frustrated with the world. And so the first few months I lived there, I had to tread on eggshells around him because he just hated everyone and everything. And then he got to really like, I started to gain his trust, and because I felt really sorry for him. I was like the mother, even though I was only 16. And then I started to like get him out of his shell and things. And then he took that the wrong way. And then I just remember one night I'd been out, and it's like, I'd come back, got in bed, and it's like 3 a.m. And then he just comes in my room and gets in my bed.
I mean, I'm not laughing, Alex. It's absolutely disgusting behavior. Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, to put you in that vulnerable position in the first place.
But I mean, nobody thought anything of it. It was the 90s. Everything was so different. There just wasn't the awareness. Nobody really thought about it. Like,
well, the thing is, 16,
I mean,
16, you can get married, you know, you can work, you can do all these things. So essentially they're treating you like an adult, but they don't forget that you are you're still a child. You're still vulnerable. You're a baby. You've only just left home, you know.
It took me, I've been modeling for 2 years before somebody said to me, oh, by the way, you're self-employed, you know, you have to have an accountant, you're responsible for paying taxes, for keeping receipts, for keeping, like, nobody told me any of this, you know, that I was just literally put into London. Right, there you go, get on with it.
Yeah.
No instructions, nothing.
Because I
And
guess like
then,
working at the hotel, you know, like any job I've had, I mean, obviously I'm self-employed now, but as a gardener, but like when you're working at the hotel, you get your pay packet, your tax is taken off and it goes to the tax man and your national insurance and you get what's due you and you can do what you want with that. Whereas this is different and no one's told you like, yeah, you have to do your own taxes here, Alex. And,
nobody told
you
me
know,
anything.
yeah,
And literally it was like, it was just a whole crazy world of just madness,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
Like, it was just this whole whirlwind that I wasn't in any way, shape, or form prepared for. And
But I guess it was exciting because obviously you're saying you've been to the Hacienda, you are, you know, you're drinking and you're taking this and that, but it's like suddenly you're in this world where you're making a lot of money. And then are these things just being offered to you straight up, like, you know, from day one, or did they kind of give you
so
like a
no,
grace period?
for the first 6 months, I was very shy,
Hmm.
very wanted to come home. I was home every weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
And then after 6 months, for the first 6 months, I was only doing like, so in modeling, there's like what's called an editorial model, and that's like the high fashion stuff. And with that, like, you're doing really amazing, beautiful artwork,
Yeah.
but you're not making any money. So I was in like ID magazine, Dazed and Confused. I was
Oh,
working
yeah.
with like Rankin and really cool photographers, but I wasn't making any money. And then, so then after about 6 months, I started meeting people and I started getting invited to all the A-list events, and like there was just Coke everywhere. I mean, it really was like
Hmm.
everybody says it is. It was just debauch. There
It's
was
like a sugar bowl full of it and all that kind of
It was
stuff.
everywhere. It
Yeah,
was everywhere.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
like, now we're sober and people are like, "Oh, you don't drink." Like, in those days, in the 90s where I went, it was like, "You don't take Coke." Like, it wasn't even asked. Everybody did
Yeah,
Coke.
yeah,
It wasn't, "Do you take Coke? Would you like a line?" It's like, "Do you want a line?" Because
yeah.
everybody took Coke. And then I started making a lot of money. And like I said, like, so then I grew curves and boobs and hips, and I was one of the highest paid lingerie models in the 90s.
Hmm.
I had an amazing career. I was like in FHM's 100 Sexiest. You know, I was like
Oh, wow.
earning
Yeah.
so much money. It was
Yeah.
ridiculous. And nobody had said to me, had given me any advice. I
Yeah.
was like a kid. All of a sudden, overnight, I had all of this money.
Yeah.
And so, what did I do with it? I got completely twatted. And
Yeah.
I got everybody else around me twatted as well. Because
Yeah.
like, literally overnight, all this money had started coming in. And I just thought, oh, well, this is it. This is how it's going to be. You know, there
Yeah.
was no forward thinking that this is going to end one day and, you know, maybe I should invest this money or.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you say you've got an agency, and you must have. Did you have a manager, or was
So
that?
I had an agency, and they're all agents who work for you.
Yeah.
They were just interested in their 25% commission.
Yeah.
They didn't give two fucks what you do with your
So
money.
no one was saying, right, you know, this is your career, and it's got this much longevity to whatever.
There was none of that. I
None of
mean,
that.
I was constantly reminded that when you get to your 20s, you're a has-been, because that was in my head always. And I genuinely, that's another
But
reason that led me to drink.
But
Was to
that's
try and sort
obviously
my life
there.
over.
Well, that's those people, I guess, saying to you, right, you need to make as much money and work as hard as you can right now, so they get their 25%, their 25%. They're not, you know, doesn't sound like they're really caring about your future. Were you putting money away, or was it just all going up your nose and in your
It
liver?
was all going up my nose. I mean, I did eventually towards the end invest in property.
Yeah.
And towards the end of my career, I ended up with quite a good property portfolio, which I then lost in another lifetime. So that's another part of my story.
So how long was the modeling career? Because, you know, I mean, I remember you in the 90s, you know, because, you know, what, a couple of years younger than you, and it was like, you know, you had your rock stars, Oasis, Blur, whatever, Pulp. You had your TFI Friday, you had your Chris Evans and all those people. They were celebrities. Sarah Cox, you know, Zoe Ball. I think Zoe Ball's sober now. And then you had the top models, the supermodels, and all that. It was like those three kind of factions. It was like, if you want to be someone, you've got to be one of these. And for me, it was like, you know, I didn't really play an instrument, but in my teen years, I wanted to be a rock star because all my heroes were either dead rock stars or drunk in a toilet bin, you know, whatever.
I can see you as a rock star. You got that vibe.
I've got the hair now, I think, in the beard, but yeah, thank you. But it's like, you know, or you know, being a film director, that was really what I was interested in as well. But I actually did do photography at college, and you know, and I did really well at that. And then I was like, well, I'm living the rock star lifestyle, the photographer rock star lifestyle. Like, I wasn't a fashion photographer. I could have maybe moved into that, but I was doing product photography, and the booze and everything else just kind of took hold, and I lost kind of.
There's a lot of money in product photography, so you could have.
But I lost inspiration.
Made plenty of boozing money. So
yeah, I mean, I did make money, but I wasn't. I'd lost any kind of drive to better myself because I just thought, I've made it. This is it, and I hadn't made it. I hadn't made it at all. You know, not you'd made it. You know, you were there doing it, but
no,
you kind of plateau
and I was very successful, but that was with no effort at all, with living my life so fucking fucked. Or if I wasn't fucked, I was hungover. Yeah. And I just think to myself, God, if I'd have put in some effort, what could have happened? Happened? Like, I'm so lucky. I don't know how I managed to be so successful when I was so debauched. But somehow I managed it. And you know, I regret so much. I mean, you can't regret because it's maybe who I am, blah, 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 all of that. But, you know, I feel guilty that the disrespect that I showed all these clients who were paying me such amazing money, and I would just be there puking up every 5 minutes. Like, I must have stank of booze and fags. Because I used to be at these wild parties and go straight to work.
But then they've cultivated you into that, you know, so I don't think they've got anything to kind of complain about when they've kind of made you almost who you are at that point.
You know, I could have enjoyed myself so much. Like I was always on a plane. I was always somewhere different. You know, I had the world at my feet. Yeah. But I just wasted it really. And also it was before social media, any of that. So a lot of it I've forgotten because it's only when sometimes I talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I remember that. And sometimes I go to a country and I think, oh, I've not been there. And then I get there and I'm like, oh no, I have been here, because I went to so many places and it was all such a whirlwind. Yeah. That I've gotten no record. Yeah. And also I have had meningitis 4 times. So my memory's quite bad these days.
Wow. But I bet it was like airplane, hotel, photo shoot, after party, you know, hungover, whatever, and then straight back on the plane to the next place.
Yeah, so, terrible.
We forgive you for not remembering these places, you know. I mean,
but like also, so a model, you're the last person to get booked, so it's all very last minute as well. Yeah. So I would get a phone call at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon saying, "Be at the airport at 8." Like literally that's how last minute it was. And I mean, God, the amount of times I've turned up somewhere absolutely dying because I've been on like a 3-day bender thinking I didn't have to work, and then I'd get a call that I'm working. Yeah. And the amount of parties that I missed and weddings and I missed my own mum's wedding party. Can you believe that? Yeah. Because I didn't have the confidence to say to my agency, no, I'm not doing it. I got booked for this big job in Japan, and I felt as though I had to do it. I couldn't, and they made you think if somebody else takes your place, then you'll never work again. Blah blah blah, all of that, and it was just, you know, it was a crazy time. But also, I say all of that, I did have a fucking good time as well. I really did.
I mean, Alex, it does sound, I mean, like, you know what, like you, I don't have any regrets. I had some great times. The only things that I say I regret is because it made me who I am. You know, I'm got amazing podcast. I meet amazing people like you. I'm a podcast.
I love your podcast, by the way.
Thank you so much. I got married in the summer to Jen, who's the most amazing woman in the world.
So good together and so happy.
Thank you so much. But it's like, you know, you were living the dream. That is kind of what people in the 90s, I mean, people like myself were like, that's what I aspire to be like, you know, that rock and roll lifestyle. If you'd said to me, right, you're going to be on a plane doing this photo shoot and you're the photographer and there's going to be a bowl full of cocaine and we're going to get you Grey Goose vodka on tap, blah, 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 all of that, I'd have been like, yes, this is it. I've made it.
That was my life.
Of course.
That was my life.
Yeah.
You know, like VIPs, parties, like I mean, they make me laugh so much now, VIP areas. Like, literally, there's like a piece of rope separating you. Like, it's the same fucking room, but because there's a piece of rope, everybody wants to get in that bit. Like,
because that's where the movers and the shakers are. Yeah.
It's just so it's all so stupid when you think about it. But like, but then the beginning of all of those nights are always so exciting, and like there's the adrenaline, and but then that bit lasts for what, minutes. Yeah. And then it just all goes dark from then on. You're trying to chase that initial thing the entire night, and for me, and I'm guessing for you, because I've got friends and people that, like, they would know when the night was done and they would go home and they would have only had this. But for me, it was like I never wanted it to end because I was constantly chasing that drunkenness or that high or you know, just the night never to end. And then it'd be days, weeks, you know, and it was just constantly chasing that. But you only get that little bit at the beginning, you know. The amount of times I've lied there in bed with my heart beating like this and listening to the birds tweeting and the light and thinking, I'm going to die. I'm going to die right here. And I want to die as well because you just feel so shit. Oh, because the pain will be over then. Yeah. And you feel so dirty and like such a shit person and your head's banging with a hangover. Like, oh my God, to think of ever going back to that place. And then I'd do that, and then the next day be like, oh my God, never doing that again. Come that evening, do it all again. Somebody offers you a glass or this or a line, and you're like, bang on it. Madness. Did you at that point, any time at that point go, I think I've got a problem? I mean, I guess it was hard because you were just in a whirlwind of never saw a problem. Never thought it was a problem because everybody around me was doing it. It was just what everybody did. Like, I didn't know there was any other way. I didn't know any sober people. I didn't know any healthy people. It was just, I thought that I had a problem in thinking that I had a problem. Like, because I can remember thinking, I want to go home. I want to go to my mom. I want to say to her, take me out of this world. And then I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with me because this is supposed to be really good fun. And like, I thought I had a problem thinking I had a problem. Of course, because at this point, like we're saying, you've made it. You're living the dream. And did you have like, I know you said at the beginning, like you lived in these kind of model apartments and all that. Did you get like a place at home? Did you have a place that you called home? Like, oh no. In the end, oh God. I mean, I moved millions and millions of times, but I moved in with my very best friend. I lived with her for years. And to be honest with you, she saved me. She was like my rock. Yeah. And she still is now to this day. And if it wasn't for her, I think I would have crumbled. I don't think I would have made it. She was amazing. And then I had boyfriends that I lived with. And, you know, towards the end, I was living in a penthouse apartment a few doors down from Dido. I had a driver. I never looked at the price of anything. I just had my my bag used to be stuffed full of cash, and I never
Yeah.
looked at the price of anything. I had no respect for money, and boy, did that come back to bite me in the bum.
Yeah.
And then also in my flat, me and my ex-partner, we had this Bulgari perfume box, and it was just full with coke all the time.
Wow.
Full.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just, yeah,
Hedonistic.
very.
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like just an absolute whirlwind, like you said, but did you have like any times when you'd get back from like traveling or whatever? I mean, did you have much time off, or was it just constant? Would you have like a couple of days or a weekend or a week off, or
So
was it
anytime
just,
I did have off, I would
yeah,
think to myself that I'm never going to work again. So I could never enjoy my time off because
yeah.
I was led to believe all the time that this is so.
Oh, they've instilled that in you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
They instilled it in me, but also somehow I never saw the money ending. It was a weird place to be because I got used to the money, but I was still very insecure about my job. It was like this weird double thing. And so I never enjoyed my time off because I was thinking, is it because I'm fat? Is it because I've put on weight? Is it because I'm getting older? Is that why I'm not working? I never enjoyed any time off. And it's not. I remember not my first agency, my second agency that took me on in London. They said to my mum, she's got to have skin like a rhinoceros to be able to survive this industry. And it's so true. It's actually amazing that I'm still here today. And also that I've managed to heal my brain because it was very, very fucked up for a long time. And
well, when that's the norm, when that's the norm, like, my experience is obviously a bit different from yours, but I was drinking and using as well. But it was like, it would be weekends because I had a 9 to 5 or pub work or whatever, I still had to hold down this kind of work and all of that. So you to be just on it like 24/7, that whole culture almost is just how can a lot of people come out of that? And I know a lot of people don't, they do get completely messed up. And you're very lucky.
But the thing is, when you're in it, you do, like, again, I mean, due to the no Google, no ChatGPT, like there wasn't the awareness of what we were doing to ourselves in those days. And so as far as I was concerned, drugs and alcohol made me feel better.
Yeah.
And so I genuinely used to feel like shit all the time, but I never put it down to alcohol or drugs because all I knew is that they made me feel better. As soon as I felt really, 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 really shit, like I couldn't take it anymore, I used to take drugs and booze and feel better. So I never, ever thought that for 1 second that could be contributing to my extreme mental health problems because I've always suffered with mental health issues, and I was self-medicating. That's all I knew how to do for all my adult life. I mean, all my teen life as well. And it's only been the past 3 years that I've started to undo all of that. What I'd learned, I had learned that any issue comes, I just make the pain go away by getting twatted, and I just run from any feelings. I never felt anything ever for very long because I just
you knew what to do. You knew your tools. And like like back in the whenever, like, you said you were a smoker, I was a smoker. We knew that the cigarettes were bad, but we didn't have any clue that alcohol was causing 7 types of cancer, or I mean, the cocaine was causing massive mental health issues to a lot of people. And you know, I was taking LSD and all sorts of other stuff as well. And it was like, we had no clue. We didn't really think about it at the time. It was like, you know, I used to think that a lot of drugs, if I was taking drugs rather than alcohol, then it was cleaner. It was cleaner for my
Me
system.
too.
You
Oh,
know,
in Colombia,
alcohol
they
would,
have it for breakfast.
yeah, like what's this? But we knew that cigarettes were bad, and I was like, yeah, but that's not going to affect me till I'm much, much older. So, you know,
Exactly.
I'll be
But it
quit by
affects
then.
everybody else. It won't affect me.
Exactly, yeah. But like, obviously, in the past 5 years since I've been sober, learning about just how bad alcohol really is. Like, obviously, drugs are a massive problem, but alcohol is killing way more people than all the drugs in the world put together. Like, that's the thing. It's tobacco, alcohol, and then drugs are quite a bit far behind. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not.
When you step out of that world and you
Mm-hmm.
finally take it away from your life, and it changes every aspect of your life, ways that you would never dream that it could change, that you would never have dreamed were even a thing, that alcohol got, like your skin, your
Yeah.
weight, your anxiety, your
Clarity.
relationships, your even things like your patience. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
things that you never even noticed
Mm-hmm.
when you know, it just changes every aspect of your life. And then once you see all of that, and you start to benefit from all of that, you just want to share it with the world. You want everybody to give up, and you want everybody to see what you see, but nobody wants to see it.
Do you know what,
And it's
Alex?
so disappointing.
And we'll get to you know, like your kind of moment when you get sober, but like, it's funny you say that, because I always say it's like taking, I think it's the blue pill in the Matrix, and once you take it, you can't
Yes.
unsee it, and it's like you want to tell everyone, but they're not ready to wake up. I did an article, well, I did a radio, a little chat on the radio over here in the Isle of Man. It was in October, but we put it out on the radio last night because it was for dry January and all that. And then they put a Facebook post on today from Manx Radio, and every single comment on the actual post is some knobhead trying to be funny, like, oh yeah, I've had a great dry January, I've had dry cider, I've had dry white wine, and it's like,
Yeah,
do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like, and it's like, I was just reading it today and I was seeing the comments coming in, and I'm just like, what are you, well, like, I mean, obviously,
No.
look, I think deflection is a
But
great
to be
sense.
fair, we were once those people.
Of
Like,
course we
I
were.
used to
Of course we
think
were.
that sober people were
Yeah.
so dull and
Yeah.
so boring, and oh my
I
God.
could do this standing in my head, and it's like, well, do it standing in your head then, mate. Give up for a month. I bet you can't. Do you know what I mean? I've not got involved. I'm not going to comment, but I'm just
No.
like, these people don't want to wake up from it yet. You know, they're not ready to, because they're being sold a lie, and they're happy in that little lie at this point. So,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, Jimmy, actually, to be honest with you, I am really fucking glad that I got so bad that I had no choice but to give up. Because I probably would have spent my whole life being one of those people. Because unless you're forced to,
Yeah.
then you just will live every day like that, not knowing how much better your life could be. Because your life would never have been that bad that you would have to change it completely.
Yeah.
And so you just live in that.
Well, I think Steve O from Jackass, I mean, I think he's like maybe 10 years, maybe more years sober now. And he said he is so thankful that he had to get sober and clean.
Yes,
Because if he
absolutely.
hadn't got sober and clean, he would have just had this slow and steady decline of killing and poisoning himself until
That's
a
exactly it.
potentially early death. You know, we're not talking super early, but, you know, like maybe late 50s, early 60s. That's still super early. You know, you shouldn't be dying at that point, but that's what the alcohol and drugs are doing, you know? And it's
But
like,
not only that, you will never, ever, ever see your full potential, ever.
Yeah.
In any area of your life, any area of your life. Like, for example, my thing now is fitness. I love the gym, and I'm like one of those cliches, and I don't care, because I dragged myself around for so many years. I just thought feeling shit was normal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought feeling shit was just part of getting older. I put it down to, oh, the menopause. Oh, you know, of course, this is normal. I never, ever, ever would accept that alcohol had anything to do with it. And then when I cut alcohol out of my life, and then I put it down with the other pillars, with good sleep, with good exercise, I feel like a fucking superhero every single day, right? I really do. And I will never take that for granted, ever. And do you think that it would ever have been possible when I was drinking? Because you never, ever get that consistency where you can, like, for example, over Christmas, even though I couldn't get to the gym, I still, every day I would either do a run or do a few minutes YouTube exercise, not massive amounts, just a little bit, because I know that as soon as you stop, you're back to square one again. You just got to keep your toe in. You just got to keep your toe in. But when you're drinking, you're just never going to have that motivation. You're never going to have it. You'll just wake up thinking, oh, fuck it. Oh, I'll miss it today.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, fuck it. I'll just miss it another day. I'll do it next week. And then, but it's month, like that with every aspect of your life, with exercising, with eating clean, with your relationships. Oh, I'll deal with it. With work. Mm-hmm. Everything gets put off. Mm-hmm. Everything gets put off because it makes you lazy, and it kills all your motivation and your drive and your enthusiasm. It takes it all away from you. It's like the silent assassin in your life.
There's so many people that, and I was one of them, because I used to do jobs that I absolutely hated. I was stuck in an office doing data entry or whatever. Sometimes I would do quite well, and I would maybe get moved to like middle management, and then I'd be like, what the fuck? And then I'd do it. I'm a gardener now, and I absolutely love it. I'm outdoors, I work for myself. But when I was in that,
I would love to be a gardener.
Oh, do you know what? I mean, not on a day like today, because it's absolutely chucking it down. But, you know, I'm still out in it and doing it.
No, but do you know what? Still, even that. I mean, I don't know whether it's because I live in Greece, and so it's like still kind of a novelty for me. But I love being outside in the rain. It makes you feel alive.
Do you know what? I get home and
being outside in nature is everything. So to be a gardener,
I know, I put a lot on my drinking because I was unfulfilled in my life, my job, and all that. But you get these people, and as I say, I was one of them, who'd be counting down the hours to getting home and cracking open that bottle or that can, and then just like, you know, but the work that you're doing is kind of, it's mediocre at best. Do you know what I mean? Because you're counting down those hours. Like, if you're not happy in the job that you're doing, fucking quit it. Get something else. Change it in your life, you know, because you only get one chance at this. But there's so many people, and it's like, well, I've got that big TV to pay off, and I've got the holiday to pay for next year. And I get all that stuff, but it's like, bring it back to basics and enjoy your life, you know. And if alcohol's in there holding you back,
that one day they will.
Yeah.
One day.
And then before they know it, they're 50 or they're 60 and they're retiring, and it's like, you know, they used to say, I think Billy Connolly was saying when we worked in the shipyards in Glasgow, he was saying they would work till they were 65, they'd get a gold watch, and then you would see them a few times, a few weeks, months down the pub, and then they would stop coming, and then they would die. And that was it. Literally like a year or two after their 65th, and they were gone, because that was all they knew. That was their whole life. And once it was gone, it was gone. But it's like, you know what? There's so much more to life.
Sad, isn't it? It's so sad. It's just existing. It's not living. And like, again, another reason for us to be so grateful that we saw the light. We have seen the light. Most people will never get that chance.
I mean, I pinch myself every day because, and then, you know, if I was to think, oh, you know, 5.5 years nearly, like, I could probably go out tonight and have a beer, and I'd probably go, it's a beer, and then I'd leave it. But you know what? If there's a 0.1% chance that I'd go back to where I was after a beer, why would I take that chance? And I know that the chance to me going back
Jimmy,
are like, it's 99%.
A lot of people say that to me. They're like, could you just have a drink? And I'm like, yeah, I could have a drink. Like, just because I had a glass of wine wouldn't mean that I'd go on like a 12-day bender straight away. That's not what would happen. But what would happen, I know exactly what would happen. I'd have one drink and I'd think, there, I had one drink. That's fine. Then next week, I think to myself, I had one drink then and I was fine. So I'll have a drink tonight as well.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, I think, I've had it. So I'll have 2 glasses of wine tonight because I'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how it would creep back in.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's a slow, steady kind of build up. And it's like, before you know it, you're like, how did I get back here? And, you know, and it's
so
like
sneaky.
But the
it
thing is,
sneaks up on you without you even noticing.
and some people think, well, they don't really anymore, but I guess back in my early days recovery, they were like, oh, you know, do you miss it? Would you want to have one, or is it just that you can't? And maybe that was the case back then, but now I'm like, I don't want it. Like, it doesn't have any interest to me. And I'm like, I can see what it is now for the lie that it is, and I don't want any part of that anymore. And it's like, my life is so much better without it. So, Alex, when did it kind of, you know, obviously it was kind of debauched and all that with the modeling. When did it kind of start getting, did it get even worse? And when did the kind of wheels really kind of fall off for you and you thought, I need to make a change here?
So, everybody talks about rock bottoms, and I had so many rock bottoms. So many.
And they keep getting lower and lower, don't they? Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I used to feel sick at myself on a regular basis, be so ashamed of myself.
Yeah.
Because I was a real dick when I drank. Like, it agrees with some people. It never agreed with me, ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then people, it said like my mum always hated me drinking. All my partners have always hated me drinking. But I'm like, oh, what do they know? I'm fun.
Yeah.
And also, just, it was such a crutch to me. I could never imagine life without it, ever. It just was incomprehensible. So I was like, they're just going to have to deal with it. And I'm just going to have to deal with it too. Because I don't like me when I'm like that, but I don't like me any other way. And I feel as though this is helping me when I don't like me. And, but anyway, so I had like periods where I would drink on nights. I was always a bit of a binge drinker. So I'd go on the sesh, and then maybe during the week I'd have like a glass of wine here or there. Like not massive amounts if I wasn't on a big session. Then the first point was in the credit crunch in 2007. Me and my ex-husband overnight lost everything. Like, we had 9 houses all over the world, had so much money, and then overnight we lost everything. And then his way of dealing with it was just to get stoned and not talk to me, and my way of dealing with it was I found a new group of friends in Manchester that were all into coke and partying. And I was like, oh, here we go again. And that was my way of dealing with it. But then, thankfully, what got me out of that was reading The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. Remember when everybody was reading that?
Yeah. It was like on every bookshelf and
everybody
every coffee
read it.
table.
It changed everybody's life. And then I started doing really well again. And, then alcohol just was put on. I was drinking, but it wasn't, a massive issue.
It was just part of your life.
Then,
Then
I moved here, and it was here that the wheels really fell off, because when I first moved, I didn't really know anyone, and also I kind of didn't know, like, I was all of a sudden in my 40s, and
you're a parent at this point as well, aren't you?
So like I said to you earlier, I've always been instilled into me that the prime of my life was over in your 20s. And I was like, I'm a has-been. And then I was having really bad problems in my relationship. And, a combination of everything meant that I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for 6 o'clock every day, because I had convinced myself that if I didn't start drinking before 6 o'clock, then I didn't have an issue.
Yeah, of course.
So 6 o'clock every day, I'd open. I can still feel the feeling now, opening that Sauvignon Blanc, like my crutch. Yes, I can have it.
Yeah.
And then I would be sinking a bottle of wine a night, with my eyes closed, and then it was 2 bottles a night. Just average. I mean, just minimum. Sorry. And I would always have to hide extras somewhere so that people didn't think that I had too much wine in the fridge. I had to go to different wine shops because I was too embarrassed to be buying loads from the same person. Yeah. I had to like pad my shopping so you didn't hear bottles clinking. Like I was just all so much deviousness and so much lies. And it was like, it was like nothing was enough anymore. I just necked the wine and I just wanted to get obliterated just quickly. Mm-hmm. And then this one night, like people had had enough of me. Like my ex, the more he hated me, the more I drank, and the more I drank, the more he hated me. We were in this vicious circle. Yeah. And then it was St. Patrick's Day 3 years ago, and we used to live right next to the Irish pub. And so we'd gone. There was like loads of us because by that point I had quite a good social life, and there was loads of mums and kids that were meeting, and we were meeting at like 5 PM for it to be fun for the kids. And I was like, right, this is going to be different. I won't drink too much. And then because I lived right next to the pub, I'd keep having to because my mum was there, and I would be a secret smoker from my mum. So I'd keep saying, I have to go back to do this. And then I'd run back to my apartment, have a crafty cigarette. But I could never smoke without a drink. Yeah. So I'd smoke, get some wine from the fridge, have the cigarette with the wine. And then I like, in between being at the pub, I'd like had a bottle or two at home as well, smoking.
Yeah, topping up, yeah.
And then I just remember the next thing my mum saying, "You're a disgrace. I'm taking Alana with me." And I was like, "Oh, God, relax. She's fine. And I'm just being fun." Mm-hmm. And then I just behaved so outrageously that night. And I just remember waking up the next day, and I was so hungover, so ill. My head was thumping. My mouth was like the Sahara Desert. I felt so sick, and then I felt such shame and such guilt. And I just started sobbing, and I thought, what's the only thing that's going to make me feel better? I need to go and drink. I was going to go and have a glass of wine. And at that point, I thought, fuck, that's it. I need help. Yeah. And then I remember I was looking through my phone, looking for like rehab or something. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I can't afford rehab.
Yeah.
I better come to a
This isn't the 90s anymore.
I'm not exactly. And so I looked for AA, and I never dreamt in a million years that I would look for something like that. That was for other people, not me. And it was the best decision I ever made. This the loveliest guy answered the phone, and I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed and sobbed. And he was so kind to me. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, "You're not alone now. You're not alone." And
that's it. You're not alone anymore. You're not alone. This is you belong here. We're gonna look after you, and we're gonna support you. Yeah.
Was just,
and this was in Greece, yeah.
Yeah. And so for 1 year, I religiously went all the time.
Same.
And I couldn't believe this whole other world. It felt like entering a whole new world of like all the meetings that I went to. There was people from such different walks of life. Yeah. Like we couldn't have been more different. Yeah. But at the same time, we were all the same.
We're all the same. We're all kindred spirits. And for me, like I went to NA, so, drugs were never a major problem, but alcohol's a drug. So they were like, you're welcome here. And I did it religiously for the first year. and like anything that was asked of me, service, this, that, and the other, and I just embraced it. I was like skipping before I would get to meetings. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted
Right.
in there, especially right at the beginning when I was struggling, and I was like, I need to get to a meeting, and I'd come out of there absolutely elated with like
Same.
buzzing and like a healthy buzz, not like a alcohol or narcotic buzz, but just buzzing with life because these people got me. They've been
Yeah.
where I've
It
been.
was
They
so
did the
amazing to
same
finally be
things. Yeah,
understood.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Do
was
you
the
still go
best
to them
feeling.
now?
No, so mine was, I was, my first year was kind of 2020, so it was in lockdown. And after I'd done a year, we went into another little circuit breaker lockdown, as they called them over here. And we couldn't get in the rooms. So we did one out in the park, and we did a few out in the park, and it was great. And I was like, that old saying, like, if you don't get to a meeting, you're going to relapse. And I was like, hang on, like, I don't feel like I'm going to relapse if I don't get to a meeting, but I also don't want to become dependent on the meetings, if that makes sense.
Oh, you've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
That's why I stopped going.
So
That
I
is why
stopped
I stopped
going.
going.
Yeah.
Because I found that there were so many addicts that were addicted to meetings in
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
There
yeah,
was
yeah.
people that had been going for 30 years. For
Yeah.
30 years, sat on the same chair, saying the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again, day in, day out. And I
My
thought,
name's Jimmy and I'm an alcoholic. I don't want to be doing that when I'm 60. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because I
I
don't
thought
even.
I want to move on with my life. I don't want
Yeah.
to keep repeating myself. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to it. I really am so grateful, but I don't want to become that cliche of in those rooms. And there's some amazing people and they're so helpful. But there was a lot of people addicted to the meetings. They
Absolutely.
transferred their addiction to that.
Yeah, and it becomes their life, and it becomes this and that, and that's great for them. But for me, it was like I wanted to move on to phase two because, like, you know what, like, yeah, I'd had a good life and all that, but it was like I actually want to start living my life now and take control back. And I thought, if I'm relying on meetings, then I'm not doing that. And I was
No,
like,
exactly.
I
But
know they're there if I
also,
need them.
you're just going back there every
Yeah,
day.
yeah, yeah,
Like, I
yeah,
don't want to think about it every day. I want to think good things.
yeah.
I don't want to take myself back to that dark place every day. I don't want to be reminded of it every day. I've
Yeah.
moved on from that stage of my life.
So a year was perfect, and like I got a little cottage up in the
Good,
hills
we
here.
live the same lives.
Well, this is the thing, Alex. It's like this is we're kindred spirits. Like all of us, we're in the same tribe, and I think that you know. Meetings aren't for everyone, and they're not. But this is why I do the podcast because the stories that I heard in those rooms were what helped me. People sharing and coming out with different stories every week, and then telling them different aspects of life. This is why I do this because
Mhm.
it's getting people's stories like yourselves, your shares out to the people that are struggling
Yeah.
that don't want to go in the rooms. They're just listening at home or on their phone and they're just hearing little snippets and they're going, that's because that's what I say at the beginning. It's like, listen for the similarities and not the difference. Because I went to AA many times before and I came out of there going, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not an addict. I'm not like these people but then
Mm,
it was like, when I started listening to the similarities, I was like, oh
yeah,
I am one of them,
exactly.
but
Mm.
my whole life is still steeped in recovery because I do peer mentoring work at our local addiction charity. I'm going to be training with Janie Lee Grace. You know Janie Lee Grace?
No.
She was I think she was one of the backing singers for Wham back in the day.
Oh,
Not the, is it
okay.
Mel and Kim, was it?
Mel
Um
and Kim, respectable. I used to love them.
Yeah, so I don't know if she was before or after. People are going to be writing in going, "Oh no, she's this," but then she did radio stuff with Steve Wright as well. So she was a co-host on one of his shows in the early '90s. But then she does sober coaching now, and she teaches sober coaching. So I'm going to start
Amazing.
that in April. So yeah,
Well, no, I mean, I think, as long as you do service in some way, it
yeah,
doesn't mean it doesn't have to be in the rooms. Like, basically, I think the natural progression of being in recovery is you want to do service.
yeah,
You want to help others. You
yeah,
really want to. I never wanted to see anyone in the same position that I was, or I'm
mm,
sure you're like I would do anything to help anyone, and naturally from you've got your podcast from my social media, I get people messaging me every day,
yeah,
every single day, women have got the same stories to me. They're in their 40s. They lost themselves. The mummy we needs wine culture got
Oh,
them,
yeah.
and they relate to me, and I love speaking to these women
Mm-hmm.
and encouraging them. And I've got quite a few that I'm speaking to regularly that are now, months down the line or weeks down the line or years down the line.
Yeah.
I speak to this one woman in Buenos Aires in Argentina,
Wow.
and she's like just over a year sober now, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh, it's amazing. It's just
You
amazing.
should look into doing some sober coaching if you've not thought about that, because you've got such a kind of warm, gentle way about you as well, and you're easy to talk to. And I think you'd be amazing with your kind of, experience and your story, because obviously you're there. Like there's so many people, there's so many frightened people out there that
I
can't
know.
get it, and they're either day one or they're not even at day one yet. And it's like, do you know what? I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's doable. Like if I can do it and you can do it, then fuck, anyone can do it. Do you know what I mean? They've just got to
Exactly.
want to do it. That's the difference. They've got to want to do it. Because for a long time, like my family and friends and loved ones were saying, like, you need to stop drinking, you need to stop doing this and doing that. And I was like, yeah, I will. But in the back of my
You
mind,
can't make anybody do
no.
it. You can't make anybody do it. The decision has to come from you. If you're lucky,
Mm-hmm.
that you will get to that point. If you're
Yeah.
lucky.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, we are the lucky ones, and
Yeah.
the percentage. I'm not going to go into it because it's like they say in the rooms that it's like 2%. I think it is higher than that, but it's still a massively low percentage of people that get into recovery, that stay in recovery. But it's the ones that aren't even getting into recovery because they're just like, it's too hard. It's too hard. Do you know what? Like this is so much, like I used to think that it was so hard to get into recovery and stop drinking. This is the easy part. This is the easy
Oh
living.
my God.
Like
The
that whole,
hard
if I
bit.
wasn't drinking, I was thinking about drinking, and I was like, where is it coming from? Am I going to a party? Who's going to be supplying it? Am I going to have to bring stuff for me, for other people, for this, for that? Do you know what I mean? It was just constant. And
And then preparing in your head, like, well, if I finish work at that time, that means it's given me a few hours to get home, and then I can drink until this time, and it was constantly planning your whole life around drinking, around.
absolutely.
Well, I can't do that because I'll be hungover, like so I have to make it like
Yeah.
the
Where are we going
headache.
to go for lunch? We're not going to go to a cafe because they don't sell alcohol in a cafe. If we go to lunch and we have this lovely little pub bistro lunch or whatever, at least I can have at least 2 or maybe 3 pints in the time that it takes everyone to have their lunch. It's like
It's just
that's not
you're
living.
free from the
Yeah,
chains now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Alex, do you regret getting sober?
Jeez, I've got one big regret, and it's that I didn't do it years sooner.
Yeah.
Years sooner.
But then you wouldn't be who you are. Do you know what I mean? And our paths wouldn't have crossed, and we wouldn't have been able to reminisce about
Exactly.
St. Lawrence College. So you are who you are because it's what it did to you. The only regret I have is maybe the emotional torment that I caused my family and loved ones. But
Me
it,
too.
yeah,
Me too. I really, really regret that.
yeah,
But um, everybody's forgiven me, and I've forgiven myself as well.
yeah,
And you only know what you know. You only know what you know. And like, we didn't know any better then. Like, we weren't bad people, Jimmy.
no,
We just that was our coping mechanism.
yeah,
And the fact is, everybody that loves us, that's around us, can see how hard we tried to change that about ourselves, and we did it. And
yeah.
we should be so fucking proud of ourselves for
Oh,
doing that. And like my daughters now are so like the younger one, not so much because she doesn't really understand it more. But my eldest child is so proud of me, and her being proud of me is just it's
it's yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I don't have kids myself. My stepkids will never see me as I was, but having my parents, speaking to me again, and my brother and his partner, they all went through it. I dragged them through it with me because they were trying to get me into rehab when COVID was starting up, and all of this stuff, the anguish and all that. And, you know, there's still work to be done there, but, you know, we're all on great terms now, and it's so amazing. What
Beautiful.
advice would you give to someone that was, you know, like we're saying, early days, or wanting to make a change in their life, or just starting out?
You can't get sober alone. You
Mm,
have to have somebody around you that understands and find a community. And it doesn't have to be AA. Like
yeah.
AA worked for us.
Mm-hmm.
It, like you said before, it doesn't work for everyone. But now I really think that there's a tide turning and people are starting to see the light. And there's so many sober communities out there that, you know, you don't have to do it alone. You do not have to do it alone. But don't try to do it alone, because it's just impossible.
It's scary.
Because all your old demons will just be there fighting against each other. You
Yeah.
need to be able to share what you're going through with somebody who understands.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, I love that. I love that. And it's like you say, it's so scary to even attempt it on your own. And there's just so much more.
I tried so many
So
times
many times.
before I quit to give up on my own.
Yeah. Because I was stubborn. I was like, nah, I can do this on my own. I've got it licked and I know what I'm doing. I wasn't actually ever really at that point thinking, well, I'll never have a drink again, because I hadn't
Yeah,
accepted that yet.
same.
But I think the acceptance in the community now is so much more, even than 5 years ago, of like, if you say to someone you're not drinking or you're sober or whatever, they're like, oh, right, okay. You know, whereas it's
Yeah,
like
things are really
before,
changing,
people,
really
yeah,
changing.
yeah, so quickly. And I think we're going to start seeing labels on bottles and more awareness, and just like big alcohol's had its days, I think. Do you know what I mean?
It
It's had its
has.
heyday.
I think we're going to think about booze in like 10 years the same way we think about cigarettes now.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good to hear that, you know, obviously in the modeling world where, you know, where you were, it's like there's so much more, what do they call it? Not safety protocols, but
Oh God, they get looked after so much.
yeah, because
They
it's just what you had to go through. You know, no one should have to go through that. And I'm so glad that you came out the end shining and shining bright. You're looking amazing, Alex, and you know it's just awesome. Do you have any recommendations for a book, a podcast, or a film?
Ooh, so the books that I read, I read this one called Soberful.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I've not heard of that one.
she's called Soberful. She's by a lady called, oh God, what's her name? It begins with V. And Russell Brand's Recovery
Yeah,
book as
I mean
well.
he's a bit problematic, but I do like that book.
He
It's
is
good.
very
Yeah,
problematic, but he's so funny. Like he
yeah.
is really funny, and I do love the way that he describes everything, and I
Because
did
he's
relate
been
to
there
that
and
a
he's
lot.
done it, and it's, you know, it's he's got the experience, and yeah, he's just I'm just
Yeah,
looking
but
that
I
one
mean,
up.
to be honest with you, I just
Veronica
read,
Sales, is it?
huh?
Veronica
That's it,
Veronica
Veronica.
Valley. Yeah, I'll put that
Yeah,
in the show notes.
it's a great book, that.
Yeah.
And I literally just read anything and everything. I
Mm.
just read all the books, listened to all the podcasts like yours,
Mm-hmm.
and you just immerse yourself in all things sobriety, and then you soon see that it's this whole big world that you're becoming a part of, and it's so exciting
Yeah.
to become like. Always used to think of myself as like one of them, you know, like the smokers outside the clubs off her face. I was one of that gang.
Yeah.
But now I love being one of this gang, the
Yeah.
sober gang.
It's weird how it shifts, because I used to think that gang, like the smoking, the drinking, was the cool gang. It's really not. It's not
The cool
anymore,
gang is us,
anyway.
babe. Wherever we are, it's the cool
Absolutely.
gang.
Well, exactly. We make the gang. We make the gang, Alex.
Exactly.
Yeah. What was I going to say there? The Outrun. Have you seen that film? It's got Saoirse Ronan in it. It's by Amy Liptrot. The book. She's English, but she lived in Orkney or Shetland, one of the two, and she grew up there on a farm. And the book came out, I think, maybe about 10 years ago, and then they did the film, well, 2024, I think, and it's honestly, it's the most amazing, brutally honest but beautiful depiction of, you know,
Ooh, what is it
addiction.
called again?
It's called The Outrun.
The Outrun. Okay, I'm going
Yeah.
to write that down. The
I
Outrun.
think
I'll look it
it's
up.
either on Amazon, it might even be on Netflix now, but it's such a good film. I mean, it's powerful, it's brutal, but it's like, and it's Amy's true kind of life story. Yeah, it's her kind of
Love
memoir
that.
of it. But Saoirse Ronan's brilliant in it, and it's well worth the watch because, like, there's a bit in it. I went to the cinema with Jen to watch it when it first came out, and there's a bit in there when she runs home from work or whatever, her boyfriend's in the living room, and she goes, yeah, just a minute, pour me a glass. So he's pouring her a glass of wine, but she runs into the bathroom, she goes behind the stem of the sink and pulls out a little half bottle of vodka and starts glugging it. And I looked
Yeah,
at Jen, and I was, because Jen knows all my old tricks, and that's what I did. But I thought I
yeah,
was on my own doing that, and then it realized it's a thing that everyone does,
yeah.
Crazy.
No, I know. There's all those sneaky little lies that we used to tell everyone and ourselves as well.
Yeah, well, that's
Like,
it. We're lying to ourselves
that's,
first and foremost. Yeah,
oh my God, do you know what? Do you know one thing that will never get old is that I can trust myself now.
yeah,
I do what I say I'm going to do.
yeah.
And it's so, like, I never used to let other people down. I'm always been quite, I would drag myself, come hell or high water, dying of a hangover if I said I'd do something. But myself, I would let myself down all the time. And I
Yeah.
don't now. And that is a beautiful thing.
And to be always available, like a few years ago, a friend of mine said, and I did his garden as well, and he said, oh, his wife had to go in with, I think it was a suspected appendicitis, maybe something quite serious, but it was like they'd had a few friends round drinking and all that, and it was like quite late on in the evening. He had to get his niece, she hadn't been drinking because she was 17. She hadn't been drinking at all. She had a provisional, so he had to get her to drive the car to the hospital. And he was telling me
Yeah.
this story, and I said, Matt, you should have just
Oh my
phoned
God.
me.
Imagine how,
Like, he'd
like,
phoned
we're free
me.
from all of that.
Yeah. But I just said, phone me, because, like, I would have been awake and sober and been able to drive you. He was like, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. And I was like, but it's just nice to be,
The
available and
dependable one.
present. And yeah,
The
yeah.
dependable one. Who would
Oh,
have ever thought
absolutely.
it?
Definitely not me. Definitely not you. Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you today. Thank
Oh, it's
you. I
been
love
so good
getting to know
talking
your
to you.
story. And obviously, we've got so many similarities, so it's just unbelievable. Like, I hope your daughter goes back to reunions with St. Lawrence College and all that. I mean,
I
I would go back,
know.
but
Well, you and Jen will have to come over here.
oh, that would be
Meeting
amazing. Do you
us.
know what? I haven't been back to Greece since 1995. I went back the summer after I left, and I lived with my friend Bill and his gran. And his gran didn't speak a word of English, and I learned more Greek in that summer because I was there for like 2 months. I learned more Greek in that summer than I did my entire time at St. Lawrence. So
Yeah,
yeah,
probably.
it was
They're not
bizarre.
big on Greek at St.
Yeah,
Lawrence,
yeah.
even though we're
But
in Greece.
I've got so many friends on my Facebook that I went to school with down
You
there.
come
Yeah,
and
so
stay with us anytime.
we definitely will. Thank you so much, Alex. We
Thank
appreciate you
you,
and your
Jimmy.
sobriety. So thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers. Take care. Bye bye now.
Thank you so much, Alex. What a tale, what a story. To be at the upper echelons of earning money, working so hard and I mean, I suppose in a way almost being bullied into working constantly, because if you miss a job, then suddenly they're gonna look at other models and things like that. So that's not a nice kind of industry part of it to be in. But to be at that point and then to fall in love, and to kind of go, right, well, this is what I'm going to do instead. And these things happen in life, and that's kind of where I suppose one of not her downfall, but where she kind of did move away from the modeling at that point, to kind of focus on real estate and things like that. And then to have the market fallout, like, these are just life's trials and tribulations. But for Alex, because she'd been given this whole lifestyle, and to then not have the kind of funds to maintain it, it's that kind of catch 22. Do you know what I mean? Everything, all the kind of building blocks start tumbling under you, and it's just it's like a heartbreaking tale, because we've not all been there, but it's so easy to kind of turn to the bottle when things turn bad, and for Alex that was kind of really what she did. But you know, for a long time, knowing there was a problem, but just thinking, well, this is who I am. This is kind of my lifestyle. This is how I'm gonna, you know, live my life. And that's, it's so sad to see people doing that, and for Alex to be living like that and thinking there is a way out. There is a way out. But you know, it did take her quite a few years to kind of work that out. And then, you know, she realized she was, even though she was drinking in front of people, she was hiding drink as well, because that's what I did. You know, we were, what is it, you can't see wood for the trees. We are drinking, but in plain sight. But also you're doing that secret drinking behind, going for a cigarette. Couldn't have a cigarette without a glass of wine. Nipping upstairs above the bar to go and have a cigarette, to then, you know, be drinking like pretty much the majority of a bottle of wine. I've done it many times, you know, because the drinking becomes so easy to just, like, downing bottles of wine was just not a difficult thing to do. It's like drinking water when it gets to that point. Alex is doing amazing now, so, you know, check out her Instagram, and everything's in the show notes. And just really, you know, take it as warning. You know, it doesn't matter if you are at the upper echelons of society and, you know, being an it girl and a model and whatnot, and got all this money, and people just basically stepping out the way when you come along because you're so important in that world. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, because if you've got that addiction and that pain going on, then get help, you know. And that's the warning, I think, from Alex, is like, you know, anyone can fall into this trap. And, you know, I think on the podcast we've seen it from all sides, you know, and it was just lovely having Alex on to tell us the story. And she's doing amazing now, as I say. She's just doing so well. So you know, good luck for the future with Alex, and you'll always be welcome on the podcast. So thank you again for coming on. And I love the you know, the coincidences that, you know, her daughter's now going to the same school, albeit different campus, but the same school that I went to when I was in Greece. You know, it's just it's a small world. But you know what, I suppose in recovery it's even smaller, but I guess we're trying to expand that world even bigger. So more and more people like Alex need to come on and share their story, and just show people that it's okay, that you can get out of this, and that you'll be all right. Thanks again, Alex. Yeah, cheers, guys. We've had a bit of sunshine. I know I always talk about the weather, but like, we've had no end of rain this year. It's been rain. We've had rain today, but the sun is out, as you can probably see in the background now. So I am loving that. I think it's rain tomorrow when I'm back at work. But I know I keep changing the days of releasing the episodes, but it's just trying to gauge when people are needing to listen to them and all that. So I'm releasing this one on Tuesday this week, just to see how that fares, because I think, you know, I think people are busy at the weekend, and I think the numbers kind of drop off at the weekend. So I'm going to try and stick with Tuesday now for about a month or so, and see how that goes. Not just for my numbers, because I know that when people need a podcast most, and if it comes out on a Thursday, it'll fallen out of the algorithm and whatnot before they then see it the following week. So I think people are really needing to listen to podcasts either on a Monday and a Tuesday. So I'm going to try Tuesday for now, but I'll stop waffling now. Hit the 5-star review. 1, tell me why both ways, 5 or 1. Leave comments, and yeah, share the podcast, share my reels, guys. You know, if you're enjoying it and you think that someone might benefit from it, then please share it. So yeah, until next week, guys, stay safe, stay sober, stay supportive. Peace. Love you all.